Hello my lovelies, it is time for another book haul, so stay tuned. So I have accumulated 28 books since my last haul. Yeah, I'm definitely hauling more than I'm reading, so I need to remedy that, maybe cut back a little bit. But I have books here from Lit Crate Joy, or Lit Joy Crate. I think it's Lit Joy Crate. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Book Depository, and one that was a gift. So let's just dive right in. We'll start with the Lit Joy Crate. This was a special edition thing that I ordered from them. Oh, look at this beauty. This is Chain of Thorns, book 3 in the Last Hour series by Cassandra Clare. She's chunky. Ugh. And if you don't know, this is just part of the Shadowhunter world. I think it's actually no, it's not the final book in the Shadowhunter world. But I do believe it is the final book in this particular series. And I'm sure by now you have heard plenty about Shadowhunters and all of those, you know, the mortal instruments and all of that. They're demon hunters. But yeah, I absolutely love everything Cassandra Clare writes. So I'm super excited to have this absolutely stunning edition. I just put that in upside down. Okay, next up, the first book I have here is one that I ordered used from like a third party on Amazon. Okay, that is In a New York Minute by Kate Spencer. I liked this edition better than the newest one, which I think is paperback. This says, the love of your life could be just a subway stop away. Franny Doyle is having the worst day. She's been laid off from her admittedly mediocre job. The subway doors rip her favorite silk dress to ruins, and now she's flashed her unmentionables to over half of lower Manhattan. On the plus side, a dashing stranger came to the rescue with his Gucci suit jacket. On the not so plus side, he can't wait to get away from her fast enough. Worse yet, someone posted their entirely not meet cute online. Suddenly Franny and her knight in couture, Hayes Montgomery III, are the newest social media sensation, and all of New York is shipping hashtag Subway QTs. Only Franny and Hayes couldn't be a more disastrous match. She's bright, talkative, and creative. He's serious, shy, and all about numbers. Luckily, in a city of 8 million people, they never have to meet again. Yet somehow, Hayes and Franny keep running into each other, and much to their surprise, they enjoy each other's company. A lot. But when Franny's whole world is turned upside down again, can she find the courage to trust in herself and finally have the life and love she's always wanted? A laugh-out-loud, clever, and romantic novel for readers of Christina Lauren, Jasmine Glory, and Sophie Cousins, this debut is a perceptive reminder that fate can have a funny sense of humor and that love can happen in a New York minute. And I think it sounds super cute. Okay, next up, this was a gift from through Amazon, and that is The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. And this was gifted to me by Christina, and it says, I love your YouTube videos. This is one of my favorite books from Christina. So thank you so much, Christina, for sending me this. This says, something hasn't been right at the roadside Sundown Motel for a very long time, and Carly Kirk is about to find out why in this chilling New York Times bestselling novel from the author of The Broken Girls. Upstate New York, 1982. Viv Delaney wants to move to New York City and to help pay for it, she takes a job as a night clerk at the Sundown Motel in Thel, New York. But something isn't right at the motel, something haunting and scary. Upstate New York, 2017. Carly Kirk has never been able to let go of the story of her Aunt Viv, who mysteriously disappeared from the Sundown before she was born. Carly decides to move to Phil and visit the motel, where she quickly learns that nothing has changed since 1982, and she soon finds herself ensnared in the same mysteries that claimed her aunt. Interesting. Okay, these next 4 books came from Book Depository. So the first one I have here is The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. And this says, 5 attendees are selected for a month-long writing retreat at the remote estate of Rosa Vallow, the controversial high priestess of feminist horror. Alex, a struggling writer, is thrilled. Upon arrival, they discover they must complete an entire novel from scratch, and the best one will receive a 7-figure publishing deal. Alex's long-extinguished dream now seems within reach, but then the women begin to die. Trapped, terrified, yet still desperately writing, it's clear there is more than a publishing deal at stake at Blackbriar Estate. Alex must confront her own demons and finish her novel to save herself. Dun dun dun. Alright, next up is The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi. And I really loved this cover. That's why I got it from Book Depository. I think it's so pretty. This says, once upon a time, a man who believed in fairy tales married a beautiful, mysterious woman named Indigo Maxwell Castaneda. He was a scholar of myths. She was heiress to a fortune. They exchanged gifts and stories and believed they would live happily ever after. And in exchange for her love, Indigo extracted a promise that her bridegroom would never pry into her past. But when Indigo learns that her estranged aunt is dying and the couple is forced to return to her childhood home, the House of Dreams, the bridegroom soon finds himself unable to resist. For within the crumbling manor's extravagant rooms and musty halls, there lurks the shadow of another girl, Azure, Indigo's dearest childhood friend, who disappeared without a trace. As the house slowly reveals his wife's secrets, the bridegroom will be forced to choose between reality and fantasy, even if doing so threatens to destroy their marriage, or their lives. Combining the lush, haunting atmosphere of Mexican Gothic with the dreamy enchantment of the invisible life of Addie LaRue, The Last Tale of the Flower Bride is a spellbinding and darkly romantic page-turner about love and lies, secrets and betrayal, and the stories we tell ourselves to survive. Oh, I'm so excited to read this. Woo! Next up is 6 Times We Almost Kissed and One Time We Did by Tess Sharp. This says, 6 fun facts about Penny and Tate. They've known each other their whole lives. 2, their moms are best friends. 3, Penny and Tate are definitely not friends. 4, they keep almost kissing. 5, they don't talk about it. 6, thanks to their moms, they're moving in together. But when almost becomes an I am now wearing your lip gloss, Penny and Tate have no choice but to finally face the music. Okay, so this next one, I ended up getting the same book from both Book Depository and Barnes & Noble. Yeah. I'm going to see if I can return this one to Barnes & Noble, but I don't know. So I have the hardcover and the paperback of This Time It's Real by Anne Liang. And this says, here, I'll just read it on the back of here. When 17-year-old Eliza Lynn's essay about meeting the love of her life goes viral, her life changes overnight. Except Eliza made the entire thing up. She's never even been in a relationship before, let alone in love. Desperate to hide the truth, Eliza strikes a deal with the budding actor in her class, Kaz. She'll help him with college applications if he poses as her boyfriend. But when their fake relationship starts feeling a little too convincing, will Eliza choose between her dreams or her heart? Get ready to fall in love with this hilarious romantic comedy. Oh, it sounds so cute. Okay, the rest, I think, of all these books, I believe, all came from Barnes & Noble. So the next one I have is One of Us is Dead by Geneva Rose. This is a heavy book. It's not like super thick, but it's heavy. Feels like I'm holding a freaking brick here. This says, Opulent sex, betrayal, sometimes friendship can be deadly. Meet the women of Buckhead, a place of expensive cars, huge houses, and competitive friendships. Shannon was once the queen bee of Buckhead, but she's been unceremoniously dumped by Bryce, her politician husband. When Bryce replaces her with a much younger woman, Shannon sets out to take revenge. Crystal has stepped into Shannon's old shoes. A young, innocent Texan girl, she simply has no idea what she's up against. Olivia has waited years to take Shannon's crown as the unofficial queen of Buckhead. Finally, her moment has come, but to take her rightful place, she'll need to use every backstabbing, manipulative, underhanded trick in the book. Jenny owns Glow, the most exclusive salon in town. Jenny knows all her clients' secrets and darkest desires, but will she ever tell? Who amongst these women will be clever enough to survive Buckhead, and who will wind up dead? They say that friendships can be complex, but no one said it could ever be this deadly. Dun dun dun. I really wonder why this book is so heavy. Like, are the pages thick? I mean, I don't know what it is, but it is very, very heavy. Compared to something that's pretty much the same size, like, this weighs so much more. Okay, so the next book you might have seen is One Girl in All the World by Kendar Blake. This is the sequel to Into Every Generation, which is in the Buffy the Vampire Slayer world. Let me pull it up on Goodreads. Sorry, the first one is called In Every Generation. And that says, a new Slayer for a new generation. Frankie Rosenberg is passionate about the environment, a sophomore at New Sunnydale High School and the daughter of the most powerful witch in Sunnydale history. Her mom, Willow, is slowly teaching her magic on the condition that she use it to better the world. But Frankie's happily quiet life is upended when new girl Haley shows up with news that the annual Slayer convention has been the target of an attack, and all the Slayers, including Buffy, Faith, and Haley's older sister, V, might be dead. That means it's time for this generation's Slayer to be born. But being the first ever Slayer witch means learning how to wield a stake while trying to control her budding powers. With the help of Haley, a werewolf named Jake, and a hot but nerdy sage demon, Frankie must become the Slayer, prevent the Hellmouth from opening again, and find out what happened to her Aunt Buffy before she's next. Get ready for a whole new story within the world of Buffy. The first in an all-new series by the New York Times bestselling author Kendar Blake continues the world of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, featuring the next generation of Scoobies and Slayers who must defeat a powerful new evil. And I am so excited to read this series because I absolutely love Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And I think it's cool that it's like literally a new generation. So they're not taking what we already know and love and changing it. They're just continuing the story on, and I love that. Okay, next up is Going Dark by Melissa De La Cruz. I love this freaking cover. This says, from #1 New York Times bestselling author Melissa De La Cruz comes a new adult mystery about all the missing girls who fall off the radar. Hashtag, where is Amelia Ashley? The influencer. Amelia Ashley shares everything with her followers. Her favorite hole-in-the-wall restaurants, her best fashion tips, and her European trip of a lifetime with her hot boyfriend. The boyfriend. Josh has no choice but to return home without Amelia after she abandons him in Rome. He has no clue where she went or how her blood got in his suitcase. Why won't anyone believe him? The hacker. To Harper Delgado, Amelia Ashley is just another missing white girl whipping up a media frenzy. But with each digital knot she untangles about the influencer, Harper wonders, who is Amelia Ashley? The other girl. 2 years ago, another girl went missing, one who never made headlines or had a trending hashtag. The truth. Amelia's disappearance has captured the world's attention. What comes next? Watch this space. Oh, I think that sounds so good. Next up we have Reggie and Delilah's Year of Falling by Elise Bryant. This says, Delilah always keeps her messy, gooey insides hidden behind a wall of shrugs and yeah whatevers. She goes with the flow, which is how she ends up singing in her friend's punk band as a favor, even though she'd prefer to hide at the merch table. Reggie is a D&D dungeon master and self-declared blurred. He spends his free time leading quests and writing essays critiquing the game under a pseudonym, keeping it all under wraps from his disapproving family. These two, who have practically nothing in common, meet for the first time on New Year's Eve, and then again on Valentine's Day, and then again on St. Patrick's Day. It's almost like the universe is pushing them together for a reason. Delilah wishes she were more like Reggie, open about what she likes and who she is, even if it's not cool. Except, it's all a front. Reggie is just role-playing someone confident, the kind of guy who could be with a girl like Delilah. As their holiday meetings continue, the two begin to fall for each other. But what happens once they realize they've fallen for a version of the other that doesn't really exist? Next up is When You Wish Upon a Lantern by Gloria Chow, author of American Panda. And this says, Leah and Kai have been best friends since they were little kids, but all that changed when a humiliating incident sparked the biggest misunderstanding of all time, and they haven't spoken since. When Leah discovers her family's wishing lantern store is struggling and she decides to resume a tradition she had with her beloved late grandmother, secretly fulfilling the wishes people write on the lanterns they send into the sky, it may boost sales and save the store, but she can't do it alone, and Kai is the only one who cares enough to help. While working on their covert missions, Leah and Kai rekindle their friendship, and maybe more. But when their feuding families and changing futures threaten to tear them apart again, can they find a way to make their own wishes come true? That sounds so cute. Okay, this one sounds like a lot of fun, and I'm really excited to read it. This is also a signed exclusive edition. I got Murder Your Employer, Volume 1, The McMaster's Guide to Homicide by Rupert Holmes. And I love how this cover looks. Also, there is a really cool map on the inside. This says, from Edgar Award-winning novelist and playwright Rupert Holmes comes a thriller with a killer concept. The McMaster's Conservatory for the Applied Arts, a luxurious clandestine college dedicated to the fine art of murder. Prepare yourself for an education you'll never forget. A delightful mix of witty wordplay, breathtaking twists, and genuine intrigue. Murder Your Employer will gain you admission into a wholly original world cocooned within the most entertaining book about well-intentioned would-be murderers you'll ever read. Who hasn't wondered what the world would be like if a person who is the object of your affliction ceased to exist? At the McMaster's Conservatory, future deletists, never murderers, learn the consummate execution of the homicidal arts. To this sumptuous campus come three memorable classmates. Self-effacing Cliff Iverson, troubled Gemma Lindley, and Hollywood diva Doria May, all of whom have suffered menacing employers who richly deserve a deadly demonument. Under the tutelage of Dean Harbinger Harrow and the fascinating faculty of McMaster's Halls of Poison Ivy, they hone their craft, each hoping to finesse a perfectly masterful murderer. Called an American treasure, a true Renaissance man, and a genius, Rupert Holmes brings this wickedly clever storytelling talents to this outrageous and darkly comic mystery set in a secret, idyllic world where students of all ages learn how to do in others as you would have others do you in. And I think this is going to be freaking fantastic, and I'm so excited to read it. Next up is a Barnes & Noble exclusive edition of Under the Whispering Door by T.J. Klune. I've read several of T.J. Klune's books and have thoroughly enjoyed them all, so I'm really looking forward to reading this. This says, welcome to Sharon's Crossing. The tea is hot, the scones are fresh, and the dead are just passing through. When a reaper comes to collect Wallace from his own funeral, Wallace begins to suspect he might be dead. And when Hugo, the owner of a peculiar tea shop, promises to help him cross over, Wallace decides he's definitely dead. But even in death, he's not ready to abandon the life he barely lived. So when Wallace is given 1 week to cross over, he sets about living a lifetime in 7 days. Hilarious, haunting, and kind, Under the Whispering Door is an uplifting story about a life spent at the office and a death spent building a home. Oh, This is gonna get me. I know it is. TJ Klune has a way of ripping your heart out. Okay, next up is Anon Please, a novel by Dumois. This says, from the creator of @Dumois, the popular and infamous celebrity gossip Instagram account, comes a fun, charming debut novel that is the perfect combination of The Devil Wears Prada, Gossip Girl, and Smile and Look Pretty. When Cricket Lopez, assistant to one of the most notorious celebrity stylists, revamps her old-fashioned Instagram account on a drunken whim and turns it into a source for celebrity gossip, she never thinks it will become anything. It's just a way to blow off steam after a terrible day at work when her nightmarish boss screams at her and blames her for some 18-year-old influencer's screw-up. But when the account grows overnight, even wilder, when she starts getting gossip from fans and insiders, juicy gossip, she has to face facts. Her Instagram is now famous, and she is now famous, though no one knows that she is behind the account. Its newfound success quickly wreaks havoc on her real life. Her boss wonders why she's disappearing on the job, her friends are increasingly irritated by her dedication to the account, and celebrities, investors, and journalists are approaching her non-stop. Plus, there's a steamy new love interest she meets through her online persona, and she has no idea if she can truly trust his motives. As the account grows and becomes more and more influential, she has to wonder, is it all the fame, the insider access, the escape from real life, really worth losing everything she has? Okay, now on to this side. Oh, goodness. The first one we have here is End of Story by Kylie Scott. This says, New York Times best-selling sensation Kylie Scott's sexy, smart, and unconventional opposites attract love story looks at what happens when fate refuses to give up on what's meant to be. When Susie Bowen inherits a charming fixer-upper from her aunt, she's excited to start living her best HGTV life. But when she opens the door to find that her contractor is none other than her ex's best friend, Lars, the same man who witnessed their humiliating public breakup 6 months ago, she isn't exactly eager to have anyone around whose alliance is with the enemy. But beggars can't be choosers, and the sooner the repairs are done, the sooner she can get back to embracing singledom. Things go from awkward to unbelievable when Lars discovers a divorce certificate hidden in a wall and dated 10 years in the future, with both of their names on it. It couldn't possibly be real, could it? As Susie and Lars work to unravel the document's origins, the impossibility of a spark between them suddenly doesn't seem so far-fetched. But would a relationship between them be doomed before it even begun? Interesting. Next up is The Sweet Spot by Amy Popple. This says, one divorce, one social media disaster, one random baby, and 3 unlikely friendships. Welcome to the sweet spot. The baby is not Lauren's. Lauren already has 3 kids, 2 imperious house guests, and a looming deadline that can make or break her career. The baby is not Olivia's. Olivia has big dreams, but she also has a bad case of breakup remorse and a worse case of student debt. And the baby is certainly not Melinda's. Melinda and her newly minted ex were always dead set against becoming parents. That is, until someone had a change of heart. The women may have little in common, but with the needy infant in hand, what can they do but forgive, forget, Ferberize, and find the baby's wayward parents before he starts calling one of them Mommy? Smart, funny, and richly absorbing, The Sweet Spot is a celebration of modern family life and all of its wonderful, maddening entanglements. Wow, tongue twisters there. Okay, next up, The Golden Boys, or just Golden Boys by Phil Stamper. This one says, 4 friends are ready for the summer of their dreams. It's the summer before senior year. Gabriel, Reese, Sal, and Heath are best friends, bonded in their small rural town by their queerness, their good grades, and their big dreams. And they also have big plans, each about to embark on a new adventure. Gabriel is volunteering at an environmental nonprofit in Boston. Reese is attending design school in Paris. Sal is interning on Capitol Hill for a senator. Heath is heading to Florida to help out at his aunt's boardwalk arcade. Separated by miles and oceans, the boys are finally on their own. It's time to figure out who they are as individuals, but what could that mean for their friendship? Best-selling author Phil Stamper crafts the perfect summer story, taking readers on an unforgettable ride as 4 boys explore the world and find themselves. Next up is Best Served Hot by Amanda Elliott. And this says, 2 restaurant critics learn that their opposing tastes might make for a 5-star relationship in this foodie romantic comedy. By day, Julie Zimmerman works as an assistant. After hours, she's Julie Z Eats NYC, an online restaurant reviewer with more than 50,000 followers. As much as she loves her self-employed side gig, what Julie really wants is to be a critic at the New York Scroll. The only thing worse than the Scroll's rejection of her application is the fact that smarmy social media adverse society boy Bennett Richard McAllister Wright snagged her dream job. While at a food festival, Julie confronts the annoyingly handsome Bennett about his outdated opinions on social media, and she posts the resulting video footage. Julie's follower count soars, and so does the Scroll's. Julie and Bennett grudgingly agree to partner up for a few reviews to further their buzz. Online buzz, obviously. Over tapas, burgers, and more, Julie and Bennett connect through their shared love of food. But when the competitive fire between them turns extra spicy, they'll have to decide how much heat their relationship can take. I think this would be a fun one to like do a food challenge with or something. I think that'd be cute. Okay. Next up, I have Wilder Lore, The Weeping Tide by Amanda Foodie. And let me pull this up on Goodreads. We had Amanda Foodie on a live show. I'll link it up here if you're interested in checking it out. But we did Wilder Lore as our group book a while back. The first book in the series, which is called The Accidental Apprentice. And it was so cute. I think I gave it 4 stars. Very much enjoyed it. And so I have a paperback of that. So I wanted to wait and get the paperback of this one. But let me read you about The Accidental Apprentice. Also, this is middle grade. This was our first middle grade that we've done for Season-a-thon. This says, the last thing Barclay Thorne ever wanted was an adventure. Thankfully, as an apprentice to the town's mushroom farmer, Barclay need only work hard and follow the rules to one day become the head mushroom farmer himself. No danger required. But when Barclay accidentally breaks his town's most sacred rule, never, ever, ever stray into the woods, for within the woods lurk vicious magical beasts. To Barclay's horror, he faces a fate far worse than being eaten. He unwittingly bonds with a beast and is run out of town by an angry mob. Determined to break this bond and return home, Barclay journeys to find the mysterious town of lore keepers, people who have also bonded with beasts and share their powers. But after making friends, entering a dangerous apprenticeship exam, and even facing the legendary Beast of the Woods, Barclay must make a difficult choice: return to the home and rules he's always known, or embrace the adventure awaiting him. And it was so much fun, and I'm definitely excited to have this one. Next up is The Baker's Man by Jennifer Mormon. This says, in this southern town of Mystic Water, magic is always in the wind and in the ovens. Anna O'Brien inherited several gifts from her late Grandma B, culinary superpowers, a bakery in a charming southern town, and a mysterious box with a note. Open the box only when you need to. You'll know exactly when you do, and you'll know what to do with it. I love you. The night her presumed fiancé crushes her dreams, Anna opens the box and finds magic sugar inside, along with a recipe to bake the perfect man. Encouraged by her best friend Lily and maybe a wee bit too much rum, a heartbroken Anna sets out to do what she always does when she's feeling blue: bake. She hardly believes her eyes the next morning when a man, a breathing and rather handsome man, is in her bakery and seems to know all her likes and dislikes, her quirks and preferences. Elijah is everything Anna dreamed and nothing she expected. Where did he come from? Is he real? And when he fashions his own ideas about what makes a good life, can she let him go? Escape into this whimsical and enchanting tale of magical realism and the spellbinding power of following your dreams as Anna discovers the sweetest side of life. And I think this is gonna be so freaking cute. Okay, my battery is flashing, so let me change that out and I'll be right back. Okay, sorry if the angle changed. Next up, we have Not Your Ex's Hexes by April Ashley. And I believe this one is the sequel to Not the Witch You Wed. Okay, I just looked and these follow different characters, so I can read you what it says about this one. In April Asher's new supernatural singles novel, a one-night stand between a willful witch and a broody half-demon conjures an adventure that wouldn't be complete without several magical mishaps. For her entire life, Rose Maxwell has trained to become the next prima on the Supernatural Council. But now that she has stepped down from consideration, it's time for this witch to focus on herself and not think about what her impulsive one-night stand with Damian Adams, a half-demon veterinarian that she can't get out of her head. Neither of them is looking for a relationship, but when Rose is sentenced to community service at Damon's animal sanctuary, it becomes impossible for them to ignore their sparking attraction. A friend with benefits, no feelings, no strings arrangement works perfectly for them both. After holding a sequence of dead-end jobs, Rose tangos with two snarly demons and thinks she's finally found her path. However, this puts Damon back on the periphery of a world he thought he had left behind. He doesn't approve of Rose becoming a hunter, but if there's one thing he's learned about the stubborn witch, it's that telling her not to do something is a surefire way to make sure she does. Working and sleeping with Rose awakens feelings Damon never knew he had, and that he shouldn't have, because thanks to his ex's hex, if he falls in love, he'll lose not only his heart, but also his humanity. Fun. Okay, next up we have Tessa Bailey, Secretly Yours by Tessa Bailey. And this says, from New York Times bestselling author and TikTok favorite, Tessa Bailey comes a steamy new rom-com about a starchy professor and the bubbly neighbor he clashes with at every turn. Haley Welch fell hard for Julian Voss at 14, after they almost kissed in the dark vineyards of his family's winery. Now the prodigal hottie has returned to their small town. When Haley is hired to revamp the gardens on the Voss estate, she wonders if she'll finally get that smooch. But the grumpy professor isn't the teenager she remembers, and their polar opposite personalities clash spectacularly. One wild, wine-fueled girls' night later, Haley can't shake the sense that she did something reckless, and then she remembers the drunken secret admirer letter she left for Julian. Oh shit. On sabbatical from his Ivy League job, Julian plans to write a novel, but having Haley gardening right outside his window is the ultimate distraction. She's eccentric, chronically late, often literally covered in dirt, and so unbelievably beautiful he can't focus on anything else. Until he finds an anonymous letter sent by a woman from his past. Even as Julian wonders about this admirer, he's sucked further into Haley's orbit. Like the flowers she plants all over town, Haley is a burst of color in Julian's grayscale life. For a man who irons his socks and runs on tight schedules, her sunny, chaotic energy makes zero sense. But there's something so familiar about her, and her presence is turning his world upside down. This sounds like it's going to be so stinking cute. All my books sound so cute. Okay, next up I have Isha Unscripted by Sanji Patel. And this says, unwilling to yield to familial expectations, an aspiring screenwriter attempts to pursue her dreams during an unforgettable night of chaos in this hilarious and heartfelt novel by Sanji Patel. Isha Patel is the black sheep of the family. She doesn't have a prestigious degree or a real career, as her parents never fail to remind her. But that's okay, because she commiserates with her cousin, best friend, and fellow outcast, Rohan. When Isha has a breakthrough getting her script in front of producers, it doesn't go according to plan. But instead of letting her dreams fall through the cracks, she is convinced by Rohan to snag a pitch session with a high-profile Austinite celeb, the one and only Matthew McConaughey, who also happened to be her professor at the University of Texas years ago. He has to remember her, right? Chasing Matthew McConaughey isn't easy. Isha needs a drink or two to muster up courage, and she gets a little help from the cutest bartender she's ever encountered. But when the search for the esteemed actor turns into a night of hijinks and unexpected, albeit fun, chaos, everything falls apart. Isha's dreams seem more out of reach than ever, but she soon realizes whom she really needs to face, and that her future may just be alright, alright, alright. Alright, alright, alright. Cute. Next is Sorry Bro by Talene Vaskuni. This says, an Armenian-American woman rediscovers her roots and embraces who she really is in this vibrant and heartfelt queer rom-com by debut author Talene Vaskuni. When Nera Bedrosian's non-Armenian boyfriend gets down on one knee and proposes to her in front of a room full of drunk San Francisco tech boys, she realizes it's time to find someone who shares her idea of romance. Enter her mother, armed with plenty of mom guilt and a spreadsheet of Facebook-stalked Armenian men. She convinces Nar to attend Explore Armenia, a month-long series of events in the city. But it's not the mom-approved Playboy doctor or the wealthy engineer who catches Nar's eye. It's the Arabunai, a woman as immersed in the witchy arts as she is in preserving Armenian identity. Suddenly, with Arabunai as her wingwoman, the events feel like far less of a chore and much more of an adventure. Who knew cooking up kuftes together could be so sexy? Arbunai helps Nar see the beauty of their shared culture and makes her feel understood in a way she never has before. But there's one teeny problem. Nar's not exactly out as bisexual. The clock is ticking on her double life. The Explore Armenia closing banquet is coming up, and her entire extended family will be there, along with Arbunai. Nar's world will inevitably collide, but she is determined to be brave and to claim her happiness. Proudly Armenian, proudly bisexual, and proudly herself for the first time in her life. Love it. Okay, next up, I have Behind the Scenes by Carlia Stes Waters. This says, fans of Abby Jimenez and Meryl Wilsner will fall in love with this hilarious and refreshingly authentic novel about second chances, pugs, and finding the perfect muse. Business consultant Rose Justin might not have officially reached pug lady middle age, but she's already got the pugs along with their little Gucci coats and trash-loving appetites. Still, life is good with her work, her sisters, and a secret hobby creating incredibly tactile, if surprisingly sexy, mindfulness videos. So why does it feel like it's not quite enough? Which is exactly when former filmmaker Ash Stewart enters camera left, and Rose's world suddenly goes full Technicolor. Ash never looks at anyone, not since her ex ripped her heart from her chest in Spielberg-esque style, crushing Ash's reputation, dreams, and directorial career in one brutal blow. But Rose is altogether different. She's curvy, beautiful, and just so damn put together, and her business expertise might be Ash's best bet for getting her last film and her last chance financed. Now if they can just keep their attraction under wraps, Ash's lost dream could finally come true. But are they creating movie magic or setting the stage for disaster? Fun. And then the last book here is The Friendship Breakup by Annie Catherine. And this one says, for fans of Laura Hankin and Jennifer Weiner, this fresh, clever, and complex debut mom-com explores the ups and downs of friendship and what happens when those you trust the most leave you high and dry. A plucky protagonist who's far from figuring it all out, but powers through with wit and determination, Fallon is a heroine millennial moms will instantly connect with. Fallon Monroe, mother of one, self-help book junkie, and budding chocolatier, has always relied on her mom friends in the Chicago suburbs to get her through the trials of adulthood. So when her bestie, Beatrice, inexplicably starts ghosting her and takes all their mutual friends with her, Fallon's left wondering how everything went so wrong. Pushing down a lifetime of insecurities, Fallon doubles down and decides to win them back.
First, she hosts an epic Mexican fiesta that goes epically wrong. Then she joins a friendship app but discovers a disturbing secret about one of her new friends. Just when she's about to throw in the towel on the whole friendship mess, Fallon reads a recently unearthed letter she'd refused to deal with decades earlier, and reading it forces her to finally face the deep-seated fears she desperately tried to bury. Now looking at her friendships through fresh eyes, she must decide between hanging on and letting go. Fallon is an instantly likable heroine, as vulnerable as she is determined, and she'll have readers eagerly turning the page as they join her on an emotional journey into the hopes and fears of adulthood. And I think this sounds like a lot of fun too. So those are all 28 books that I acquired since my last haul. Have you guys read any of them? Did you like them? Did you not? Comment down below and let me know. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, click that subscribe button down below. And until next time, remember to always be completely you. Bye!